basement smelled like mildew and betrayal. I came to slowly, my head pounding, wrists burning from zip ties that cut into my skin. The concrete floor beneath me was cold, so cold I could feel it through my dress. Above me, footsteps. My son's footsteps. I'd know them anywhere, the same heavy gait he'd had since he was 12 years old, when he started playing football and grew 6 inches in one summer. Is she still out? That was Jessica, my daughter-in-law. Her voice drifted down through the floorboards like poison. Yeah, should be for another hour at least. My son, my Dylan, the boy I'd raised alone after his father died, the boy I'd worked 3 jobs to put through college. Mom always did trust me too much. My name is Margaret. I'm 63 years old, and until approximately 4 hours ago, I thought I knew my son. I'm a retired real estate agent here in Charleston, South Carolina. Spent 40 years helping families find their dream homes, their safe places, their sanctuaries. Never imagined I'd end up a prisoner in my own basement. What I didn't know that morning when Dylan brought me chamomile tea with a smile was that my entire life was about to collapse. By the end of that day, I would discover my own child had been plotting to steal everything I'd built, to erase me like I was nothing more than an inconvenience. And what neither of them knew, what would ultimately save my life, was that 3 weeks ago, I'd installed cameras in every single room of this house. Let me tell you something about maternal instinct. It never dies. Even when you don't want to believe what you're seeing, even when your heart is screaming that you're wrong, your gut knows. Your gut always knows. 3 weeks earlier, I'd been looking for my reading glasses in Dylan's old room, the one he and Jessica were staying in while their house was being renovated. My hand had knocked his phone off the nightstand, and when I picked it up, I saw it. A text message notification. Just a fragment, but enough. Once we get rid of the old bat, we can... My hands had shaken so badly I nearly dropped the phone. I set it down carefully, exactly where it had been, and walked out of that room on legs that didn't feel like mine. In my bedroom, I'd sat on the edge of my bed. The bed I'd shared with Dylan's father, the bed where I'd held our son as a newborn, the bed where I'd cried myself to sleep after the funeral. And I'd made a decision. Trust, but verify. I'd called Marcus, my old colleague from the real estate office. His son ran a security company. 2 days later, I had 6 tiny cameras installed throughout my house. Living room, kitchen, both bedrooms, the hallway, and yes, even the basement. Marcus had looked at me with concern in his eyes, asked if everything was okay. I'd lied, told him I'd had some break-ins in the neighborhood, wanted to feel safe. The truth was so much worse than burglars. For 3 weeks I'd watched. Every night after they went to bed, I'd sit in my bathroom with my tablet, reviewing footage. Watching my son and his wife plot my demise like I was nothing more than an obstacle between them and my house, my savings, my life insurance policy. Your mom's got at least another 20 years in her, Jessica had said one night, lying in bed beside my son, her voice casual like she was discussing the weather. We can't wait that long. I know, Dylan had replied. His face, God, his face looked so much like his father's in that moment. But his father would have never. The house alone is worth $800,000 now, plus her retirement accounts, the life insurance. There's that place, the one Denise told me about. Jessica had rolled toward him, propped herself up on one elbow. In rural Georgia, they take people with dementia, Alzheimer's, that sort of thing. No family visits allowed. They say it's for the patient's stability. Mom doesn't have dementia. They don't verify that very closely, especially if the family is persuasive. Cash persuasive. I'd watched my son consider this, watched him actually consider it. The boy I'd rocked to sleep, Taught to ride a bike, held when he cried over his first breakup. 5 seconds, 10, 15. How much would it cost? That's when I'd closed the tablet and vomited. But I hadn't confronted them. I'd done something smarter. I'd gone to see my lawyer, Evelyn Parker, a sharp woman in her 50s who'd handled my real estate closings for years. I'd shown her the videos. Her face had gone pale, then hard. "Margaret, you need to go to the police." "I will," I'd said. "But first, I need insurance." Evelyn had understood immediately. She'd helped me set up a dead man's switch, a system where I had to check in every 12 hours through an app on my phone. If I missed a check-in, automated messages would be sent to the police, to the FBI, to every news station in Charleston, complete with video files of every conversation I'd recorded. "They won't be able to make you disappear," Evelyn had said, gripping my hand. "The moment you vanish, the world will know what they did." I'd nodded. Set the timer. 2-hour intervals during waking hours, longer overnight. I could cancel each notification up to 15 minutes before it went out. Miss that window, and the truth would flood out like a dam breaking. "One more thing," I'd said to Evelyn. "Don't tell me when the messages are scheduled to send. I don't want to know. I don't want them to be able to get it out. Of me." Smart thinking, as it turned out. Now, in the basement, I lay perfectly still, playing dead, or rather, playing unconscious. The drug Dylan had put in my tea was real enough. I'd felt myself getting woozy around noon, had made it halfway to my bedroom before the world tilted. But I'd woken up faster than he'd expected. Maybe because I'm stubborn. Maybe because some part of me had been preparing for this. Through the floorboards, I could hear them moving around upstairs, opening drawers. My drawers. "Found the checkbook," Jessica called out. "Holy hell, Dylan. She's got $400,000 just sitting in savings. Who does that?" "Someone from a generation that didn't trust banks for a long time," Dylan replied. I heard his footsteps move toward the kitchen. "Probably has cash stashed somewhere, too. We should look. After we take care of her. I don't want her waking up before we're ready." "She won't. I gave her enough to keep her out for hours." "Except you didn't, baby boy. You never were good at following directions on medicine bottles. Always eyeballed it, even with your own fever reducers when you were little." I tested the zip ties carefully. Industrial strength, tight enough to hurt, but not quite tight enough to cut off circulation. They'd looped them through an old pipe that ran along the basement wall. Smart enough to restrain me, stupid enough to use zip ties instead of rope. Zip ties could be broken if you knew how. And I knew how. You don't sell houses for 40 years without learning a few things about construction, about emergency situations, about desperate measures. I'd once helped a client who'd locked herself out of her own home by showing her how to use her shoe and a little physics to break a zip tie. Never thought I'd use that knowledge on myself. But first, I needed to know the plan. Needed to hear it all. "Mom, you awake down there?" Dylan's voice drifted down. Tentative, almost hopeful that I wasn't. I stayed silent, kept my breathing, slow and even. "Still out," he called back to Jessica. "Okay, let's go over this again. We need to be at the facility by 7. That's 4 hours from now. The director said to come after dark, use the service entrance." "And you're sure about the paperwork?" "Forged her signature last week. Medical power of attorney, dementia diagnosis from a doctor who doesn't ask questions, commitment papers. It's all set." A pause. "I can't believe we're actually doing this. She's your mother, Dylan, but she's standing between us and our future. We've got $200,000 in debt from my student loans, from the business that failed, from..." "I know. This house could save us. Her accounts could save us. We've been drowning for 3 years, and she's been sitting on all this money, all this property, and for what? To leave it to us when she dies anyway? We're just accelerating the timeline. She's not dying, Dylan said quietly. We're just putting her somewhere she can't cause problems, a place where no one will ever find her, where she'll be drugged up, forgotten. Same difference, honey. I heard him pour something, probably bourbon. My bourbon, from the bottle his father and I bought on our 20th anniversary, the bottle I'd been saving. You're right, he said finally. You're right. She's lived her life, had her turn. This is ours now. That's when something broke inside me, not my heart. That had broken 3 weeks ago when I first saw those messages. This was different. This was the final thread of hope snapping. The hope that maybe, somehow, I'd misunderstood. That my son wasn't capable of this. He was. He absolutely was. I opened my eyes fully, let them adjust to the dim basement light. The zip ties were attached to an old water pipe, painted white, probably from the 1970s. The floor around me was bare concrete, cold and slightly damp. Boxes lined the far wall, Christmas decorations, Dylan's old school projects that I'd saved, photo albums from Aggie, life that now felt like it belonged to someone else. My purse was gone. They'd taken it, which meant they had my phone, which meant I couldn't cancel the dead man's switch. I looked at the small window near the ceiling, the one that let in a rectangle of fading afternoon light. What time was it? 3? 4? How long until the messages went out? I'd checked in last at 11 a.m., right before Dylan brought me the tea. That meant the next check-in was at 1 p.m. 2 hours. I'd missed it. My heart hammered. The message wouldn't go out immediately. Evelyn had built in a 15-minute grace period, then another 15 minutes after that. 30 minutes total. But after that, how long had I been unconscious? How much time did I have? Focus, Margaret. First things first. Get free. I brought my wrists up, examining the zip ties in the dim light. Standard black plastic, pulled tight. The old shoe trick wouldn't work without, well, a shoe. But there was another way. If I could get my hands in front of me instead of behind my back, if I could get leverage. The pipe I was attached to ran horizontal, about 2 feet off the ground. I was sitting with my back to it, wrists tied behind me to the pipe itself. I needed to rotate my body, bring my arms around. It would hurt. The ties would cut deeper. 63 years old, Margaret. You're not as flexible as you used to be. Didn't matter. I had to try. I lay down flat on my side, ignoring the cold concrete against my cheek. Brought my knees up to my chest as far as they'd go. Started working my bound hands down under my hips. The zip ties cut deeper. I felt skin break, felt blood start to slip down my wrists. My shoulders screamed, my back spasmed. I was too old for this. Too old. No. Stop it. You're alive. You're conscious. You're not done yet. I pushed through the pain, worked my hands past my hips, past my knees. My shoulders felt like they were going to dislocate. The zip ties bit deeper. Blood made my wrists slippery, which helped and hurt at the same time. Almost there. Almost. My hands came around, still bound but now in front of me. I gasped, lay there for a moment, breathing hard. Upstairs I heard Jessica laugh. Actually laugh. Imagine her face when she realizes, Jessica said, when she's sitting in that facility, and it hits her that her own son did this. She won't remember, Dylan replied. They'll have her so drugged up she won't remember her own name. Time to move. Time to end this. I sat up, examined the zip ties with fresh eyes. Hands in front meant options. The pipe they'd originally threaded the ties through was now irrelevant. In moving my hands around, I'd slipped free of that anchor. The ties still bound my wrists together, but I wasn't attached to anything anymore. Small victories. There was a workbench against the far wall. My husband's old tools still there. A box cutter. Scissors. Anything sharp. I stood up carefully, quietly. My head spun. Residual effects from whatever drug Dylan had used. I steadied myself against the wall, waited for the dizziness to pass. The stairs creaked. Someone was coming down. I dropped back to where I'd been, arranged myself quickly. Hands behind my back like they were still tied to the pipe. Eyes closed, breathing slow. The basement door opened. Footsteps on the wooden stairs. Dylan's footsteps, still that same heavy gait. "Mom?" His voice was soft, almost tender. "I'm sorry. I really am. But you have to understand. Jessica and I, we need this. We've needed this for so long. You'll be taken care of. They'll feed you, give you medication, keep you comfortable. It's better this way. Better than you fighting us on selling the house. Better than you living here alone at your age. This is for your own good. For my own good. The rallying cry of every child who's ever betrayed a parent." I kept my eyes closed, felt him move closer. He crouched down beside me, and I could smell his cologne, the same brand his father wore. I'd bought it for him last Christmas, back when I still thought he loved me. "I do love you," he whispered, like he could read my thoughts. "That's why this is so hard. But Jess is right. You've had your time. You had Dad, you had your career, you got to raise me. Now it's our turn. Our time to build something. And we can't do that drowning in debt while you sit on a fortune." He stood up, started to walk away. "Dylan." My voice came out rough, raw. "I'm awake." He spun around. In the dim light, I saw his face cycle through emotions. Shock, fear, anger, calculation. He settled on something that might have been regret. "How long?" "Long enough?" I sat up slowly, showing him my hands, still zip-tied but free of the pipe. "Long enough to hear everything. Long enough to know exactly who you've become." "Mom, don't." I stood up. My legs shook but held. "Don't you dare call me that right now. Don't you dare use that word after what you've planned. You don't understand the pressure we're under. The debt, the bills. So, you decided to kidnap your own mother? Drug me? Lock me in a basement? Ship me off to some illegal facility where I'd disappear forever?" My voice rose. "I would have helped you, Dylan. If you'd asked me, if you'd been honest, I would have helped you. That's what family does. You would have given us a loan with conditions, made us grovel, made us prove we deserved it. I would have helped you." The words echoed in the basement, bounced off the concrete walls. "I'm your mother. I worked 3 jobs to raise you alone. I gave you everything I had, everything I was, and this is how you repay me?" Jessica appeared at the top of the stairs. "Dylan, what's going on?" "She's awake," he said flatly. "So drug her again. We're running out of time." I looked at my son. Really looked at him. Tried to find the little boy who used to crawl into my bed during thunderstorms, who cried when his goldfish died, who told me I was the best mom in the world. He was gone. Or maybe he'd never existed. Maybe I'd just been too blind to see the truth. "There's something you should know," I said quietly. 3 weeks ago I installed cameras in every room of this house. Dylan went pale. "You're lying." Living room, kitchen, bedrooms, hallway, even this basement. Every conversation you've had, every plan you've made, I have it all recorded. Video and audio, crystal clear. "Give me your phone." Jessica was coming down the stairs now, her face twisted. "Give it to me right now." "I don't need to. The files are stored in the cloud. And here's the really beautiful part. I set up a dead man's switch. Every 2 hours during the day, I have to check in through an app. If I don't, messages go out automatically. To the police, to the FBI, to the media, complete with every video I've recorded of you two. You're bluffing, Jessica spat. Am I? What time do you think it is right now? Because I haven't checked in since 11 a.m., and I'm guessing it's past 1, which means the first grace period has already passed. Dylan pulled out his phone, checked the time. His hand trembled. It's 3:47. Then you've got about 13 minutes, I said calmly. 13 minutes before the Charleston Police Department, the FBI, and every news station in South Carolina gets an email with video evidence of you two planning to kidnap and illegally commit me. 13 minutes before your faces are plastered all over the news. 13 minutes before your lives are completely destroyed. The phone, Jessica lunged for me. We get her phone. We can stop it. You can't, I said, stepping back. The system is automated. The only way to stop it is with my fingerprint and a 6-digit code. You can torture me, drug me, kill me, doesn't matter. Without both, the messages go out. And if I'm dead or incapacitated when the next check-in comes, the system assumes I'm in danger and sends everything immediately. Dylan's face had gone from pale to gray. Mom, please, you have to stop it. We'll leave. We'll go right now. We'll never come back. Just please stop it. Why should I? Because I'm your son. Are you? The words came out cold. Because my son died 3 weeks ago when I watched him plot to erase me. I don't know who you are, but you're not the boy I raised. Jessica grabbed Dylan's arm. We need to run. Right now. Get the cash from upstairs. Take her car. Just go. 11 minutes, I said. Mom, please. Dylan's eyes filled with tears. Real ones for once. Please. I made a mistake. A terrible mistake. But I'm still your son. I'm still your baby boy. And there it was. The manipulation. The same trick he'd used since childhood. Cry, apologize, promise to do better. And I'd always forgiven him. Always given him another chance. Even when he stole money from my purse in high school. Even when he wrecked my car and lied about it. Even when he borrowed $10,000 for his business and never paid it back. I'd always forgiven him because he was my son. Because I loved him. Because that's what mothers do. But mothers also protect themselves. And I was done being a victim. Cut these zip ties off me, I said. Then both of you sit on those stairs and don't move. Jessica started to protest, but Dylan grabbed the box cutter from the workbench. His hands shook so badly he almost cut me when he sliced through the plastic. The moment my hands were free, I rubbed my bloody wrists and walked to the stairs. Sit, I said, again. They sat. They actually sat. Because they had no choice. Because for the first time in years, maybe ever, I held all the power. I climbed the stairs slowly, my whole body aching. In my kitchen, my beautiful kitchen with its white marble countertops that I'd saved 3 years to renovate, I found my purse on the counter. My phone inside, exactly where I'd left it. I opened the app. The timer showed 9 minutes until the messages would go out. My finger hovered over the cancel button. In the basement doorway, Dylan appeared. Tears streaming down his face. Mom, please. I know I don't deserve it. I know I've failed you. But please, give me one more chance. I'll do anything. I'll go to therapy. I'll make this right. Just please don't destroy my life. You were going to destroy mine. I know, and I'll never forgive myself. But I'm begging you. I'm your son. I'm all you have left. That was the thing, wasn't it? He was all I had. My only child. The last piece of his father. After he was gone, I'd be truly alone in this big house with its cameras and its secrets and its ghosts. But I'd also be free. I looked at him, really looked at him, tried one more time to find my little boy, tried to remember the good times, the love, the laughter. Tried to convince myself that people could change, that he deserved another chance, that blood was thicker than betrayal. I couldn't find it. Couldn't find anything but the stranger who drugged me, tied me up, planned to erase me from the world. 7 minutes. "Get out of my house," I said quietly. "Mom, get out. Both of you. Right now. Leave your keys on the counter. Don't take anything except the clothes you're wearing. You have 5 minutes before I call the police myself. The videos will remain stored in the cloud as insurance. If you ever contact me again, if you ever come near me again, if you ever threaten me in any way, they go public. Understand?" Jessica appeared behind him, her face twisted with rage. "You vindictive old—" 4 minutes, I said calmly. Dylan grabbed her arm. "Let's go. It's over." I watched them leave. Watched my son walk out of my life, probably forever. Heard the front door slam. Saw his car pull out of the driveway through the window. Then I sat down at my kitchen table and canceled the dead man's switch with 30 seconds to spare. The house was silent. Completely silent. No footsteps overhead, no whispered plots, no fake affection. Just silence. I should have felt victorious, powerful, strong. Instead, I felt empty, hollowed out, like someone had reached into my chest and removed something essential. My phone rang. "Evelyn. Margaret, I'm okay," I said. My voice sounded strange, distant. "It's over. They're gone. Did they hurt you?" I looked at my bloody wrists, my bruised arms, the cut on my cheek from where I'd scraped against the concrete. "Nothing permanent. I'm coming over." "No. Thank you, but no. I need to be alone right now." "Margaret, please, Evelyn. I'll call you tomorrow, I promise." I hung up before she could argue. For a long time, I just sat there, staring at nothing, feeling nothing. The sun set. The kitchen grew dark. I didn't move to turn on lights. Eventually, I went to my bathroom, cleaned my wrists, bandaged them properly, changed into my nightgown, brushed my teeth. All the normal rituals of an abnormal day. In bed, I stared at the ceiling. My ceiling, in my house, in my room. Alone, but safe. Free, but lonely. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. "I'm sorry." That was all. 2 words. I deleted it, blocked the number. Then I did something I hadn't done in 3 years. Not since my husband's funeral. I cried. Really cried. Gut-wrenching sobs that shook my whole body, that made my throat raw, that left me gasping for air. I cried for the son I'd lost, for the family that had never really existed, for the 40 years I'd spent building a life that someone else had, tried to steal, for the version of myself who'd woken up that morning still believing in love, in loyalty, in blood being thicker than water. That woman was gone. Killed just as surely as if Dylan's plan had succeeded. But maybe that was okay. Maybe that woman had needed to die. Maybe I'd been too trusting, too forgiving, too willing to overlook warning signs because I was afraid of being alone. I wasn't afraid anymore. The next morning, I called a locksmith, changed every lock in the house. Then I called my lawyer. Drew up a new will, leaving everything to charity. Called the security company. Added more cameras, better ones, called a therapist, made an appointment. And slowly, over the next few months, I started to build a new life. Not the one I'd planned, not the one I'd wanted, but mine. Completely, utterly mine. I joined a book club. Made friends with women my age who understood what it meant to be betrayed by the people you loved most. Started volunteering at a women's shelter, helping other women who'd been hurt by family, by spouses, by children. I sold my real estate license to a younger agent and used the money to travel. Saw Paris, Rome, Prague, all the places I'd dreamed of seeing but never had time for because I was too busy working, raising Dylan, sacrificing. I never heard from my son again. Never saw him. Sometimes I wondered if he thought about me, if he regretted what he'd done, if he'd changed. Mostly, I didn't wonder at all. Because here's what I learned in that basement, with my wrists zip-tied and my life hanging by a thread. You can love someone with every fiber of your being and still need to let them go. You can grieve what was while celebrating what is. You can be alone without being lonely. And sometimes, the person you need to save isn't your child. It's yourself. I'm 64 now. 1 year older, 1 year wiser, 1 year freer. My wrists still bear faint scars from the zip ties. Thin white lines that I see every morning when I wash my hands. Some people might think they're ugly, a reminder of the worst day of my life. I think they're beautiful, because they remind me that I survived, that I fought back, that I chose myself. And I'd make the same choice again in a heartbeat.